Welcome to Masculine Geek, where men gather to discuss life, love, and all things geek. And unlike most YouTube channels, we don't beg for super chats. We don't play cutesy little sound bites. That crap is lame and feminine. We're men swapping notes and gathering together for men talk. We don't whine about politics or trendy red meat topics. That's juvenile 13th grade garbage. Masculine geeks are men of courage and honor that gather together to discuss our hobbies and interests. Get on board, gentlemen.
That's right. Get on board. Let me cue up our background music. And welcome to MG number 286. This is the canceled AD&D game, Fireside Chat. Cheers to everyone watching. I think I saw a member. Hey, CHD. Chris. As we stated before, we'll be going private for members only at the 30-minute mark. So I'm going to set the timer now. Hey, Baron Gaslight. It's been a while since we've seen you. How have you been? Let's go countdown now. So, TJ, what have you got? It looks like you have a new pipe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not sure if I can get it good.
Yeah. That's cool.
Then it's called the Geneva pipe.
The Geneva pipe. Why do they call it that?
It's from Switzerland.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Now, what tobacco you have in there? What's the flavor?
One of the many Lord of the Rings ones that you gave me years ago.
Oh, okay, it's still fresh.
Oh, that stuff retains its moisture forever.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I think it's. Is it? There was Second Breakfast and I think Old Toby.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of. I think I got you Second Breakfast.
Yeah.
The names crack me up, and it's. We love Lord of the Rings, so it makes sense to have.
Mm-hmm. Second Breakfast is the best pipe tobacco I've ever had.
Cool. All right, good. I'm glad it worked out. Oh, congratulations, Baron. New job. Anything that keeps you off the internet. I mean, obviously, it's cool that you're here, and I think we're a pretty cool channel to hang out with every now and then. But being off the internet is often a very good thing. We were just talking about that in the Robert and I in the behind the scenes studio before we went live. And that's pretty much the conversations we have for members only. It's sort of like the after party. So if you haven't joined as a member to Masculine Geek, make sure you head over to the channel and join. So, yes. How's Willow doing?
She's doing good. Doing good. She's very popular wherever she goes.
Oh, no doubt. That's very cool. And obviously, and by association, you are as popular as well. Yes, that's cool. And you can attest to the statement that dogs are chick magnets.
They are. The thing is, they're magnets for all chicks, so not any particular type of chick. So
it's all or nothing.
It's a very widespread fish net. We'll put it that way. You can get a trout, you can get a salmon, or you can get a land whale. I'm not saying you keep them. I'm not saying you throw it in your boat. I'm just saying, they're going to get tangled up in the net.
Well, you talk to them for a little bit. You enjoy the feminine energy. You practice your social skills, and you throw them back. Yeah, cool. All right, very cool. How are you doing, Robert?
Much too busy with work and family stuff.
I know. We got dicked over by Drew, you son of a bitch. Oh my god.
Yes, so I should sadly be somewhere else poring over their accounting, and instead I'm here for our D&D game. That didn't happen.
Yes. We'll make the best of it.
Yeah. Odd how it's always our DMs bailing on us.
It is. I think maybe you and I and TJ once or twice over the course of almost 5 years
Yeah.
have bailed on our own game. I mean, we try to,
Yeah, but
show up.
You got called into what? You got called into work once, which there's like nothing you could do about that. That was
I had some
completely
updates
beyond your control.
I had to babysit. Yeah, and I didn't want to do both things at the same time and have my focus separated on different laptops and such. That's a losing proposition.
Right. And one of the games at least the one game I missed, I gave 2, maybe 4 weeks notice that, hey, I can't game on this night. But
you had a concert to go to.
Yeah, and it ended up being like the only night everyone else could make it, so it seemed ridiculous not to have it. So yeah, it's again, it wasn't like the day of the game, I'm not going to be there. So
if there's one person that can't make it, we can still soldier on, and it's not a big deal. But if 2 or more have to bail, then we reschedule. Yeah. And having said that, so I initially scheduled it for next week. We got too much going on. It's Christmas holidays. We're going to not do that and reschedule Drew's game for probably January 1st. That's a holiday. So probably January 8th, 2025. Next year, another 3 weeks. So having said that, we do have our MG Life private broadcast for members on the 27th is the painting stream that Friday, and then the 28th at 3 p.m. is our gathering. So there's that. But that's the end of December, so we'll have a little bit of a Christmas vacation, if you will. Yeah. What's everybody drinking? If they're drinking at all, we can't see you, Robert, so we don't know.
Robert is just drinking water at the moment, although Robert was thinking about having I was gifted a big can of Sapporo, which I don't usually drink beers that light, but it's Japanese, and in honor of the 5 to 10 Japanese guys on Twitter that consistently like and share the things I post from my toy collection. God bless them. Right. Or the kami bless them. I was going to have it in their honor, or I was going to stick to my usual bourbon from Starlight Distilleries here in Indiana.
Oh, that's right.
But instead, I am drinking water because, in all likelihood, I will probably end up doing some work after we end the stream for a little bit before going to bed tonight. So,
okay. Isn't that the distillery? The distillery, isn't that the one that had the blackberry bourbon?
The blackberry whiskey, yes.
Whiskey, there you go. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool. I do want to get some of that sometime.
Yeah, it is very tasty, and oddly enough, since I started promoting this Starlight Distilleries product, their prices at local liquor stores have gone up, which I don't consider to be all me, because I'm not just promoting it on the internet, but I actually tell people with whom I cross paths or have business associations with that it's actually a really good quality product. So
okay.
And in the case of the one you were mentioning, the blackberries are actually grown on the Huber family farm, which was established in 1843. They combine the blackberries with one of the family's favorite whiskeys and distill it all in the copper pot still. And so, I mean, it's not just cheap artificial flavoring thrown in like you get from the bigger name distilleries and so forth. So, they're in Borden, Indiana, which is in southern Indiana. And you can look up starlightdistilleries.com. And they also have like a Facebook presence and stuff like that. So not sure what all liquor stores carry their product outside of the state of Indiana, but I know Big Red Liquor is one of the larger liquor stores here in Indiana, carries them, and other places do as well. So highly recommend both products. So
okay.
Although I don't know that we are allowed to send tobacco or alcohol to TJ, since he lives behind enemy lines in communist occupied territory.
I have to buy it for him and send it to him.
Okay. Yeah.
Some places will not ship to his state.
No places will ship. No, there's no
None.
places allowed to ship. Nope,
Jesus.
not one. That's a state law.
Damn. Hey, John Doe 1.1. It's being antisocial has its positives, that's for sure. Especially when you get tired of trying to get groups together and you get thwarted at every turn.
Pardon the expression, but if you're antisocial, you're not alone in this country.
No, you're in good company. So cheers.
Yeah, Baron Gaslight, that's correct, just south of Bloomington. So I guess they have tours down there and everything else. I've heard nothing but good things. I haven't actually been there yet, but because I haven't even had time to make the trip, and it's only about an hour or so for me, maybe even less, since they've redone some of the roads as far as going south throughout the state. But anyway, very fond of their product and very smooth. I have yet to try something from them that I did not like. So
that's cool. It's nice to have a place you can trust and is a good solid standard that doesn't change over time.
Yeah. Well, that Chemung Red that you guys had at a couple of your gatherings, isn't that something that's local for you from a local winery?
Oh yeah, it's at Valenzano Winery. In fact, I was there Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah,
that has me intrigued. That sounds like a wine I would really enjoy. So
I'll probably just pack it up, have my girl pack it up good and ship it out to you.
Isn't that the one TJ was drinking as if it was soda pop?
Yes. It was
not quite.
No, we're not officially for masculine. So when we first met in Gettysburg in 2018, October of 2018, wasn't it? October? Yeah, October 2018. That's when I brought 2 bottles and he finished one by himself.
Yeah,
I mean that's fine. I got it for him to have. I mean, I'm not complaining. Just an observation.
It wasn't like a croissant or something that was earmarked for someone else.
Exactly. Croissant gate.
But no, I seem to remember, TJ, you said something about it, that it was just really it had a really pleasant taste, and you were just enjoying it. It didn't feel like you were drinking alcohol at all, and before you know it, you'd went through the bottle.
Yeah, that's the thing, is those wines are so sweet, and I don't think they have as much. I think the sugar probably offsets the alcohol, because when you drink dry stuff, there's no sugar.
Right.
For the most part. I mean, you drink a brew cider or some sort of brew Normandy cider, there's no residual sugar.
Yeah, the Chemung Red is a Concord grape. So I think Concord grape type taste.
Okay.
But it's not overbearing. It's not a saccharine sweet taste. It's just a good sweet wine. Now, there's a few places that do good sweet fruit wines. One of them is Cream Ridge here, not too far off of. It's in the Great Adventure Pine Barrens region, near a place called New Egypt. They do great fruit wines. My favorite are cherry, the strawberry, kiwi. They do an almond berry, which is a mix of chocolate, almonds, and coffee.
Oh wow!
It's fucking amazing. But yeah, they're pretty solid. A lot of times you get these wineries that don't. It's too sickly sweet.
Right.
It makes you ill after a couple glasses. But
now, would you just have them as like after dinner kind of dessert wine drinks, or would you actually pair it with like a cheese and some crackers or a certain type of bread or something like that?
That is a good question. So if I am going to Cream Ridge, which I may go back this Sunday because I do have some holiday things planned.
Okay.
So if I do a sweet wine, I will pair in the wintertime. I'll pair a sweet wine with cheese
Okay.
and meats and stuff and breads. In the summertime, I like a sweet wine, maybe some ice on it, or at least chilled.
Yeah, so it's more refreshing.
When it's hot out, it's more refreshing. A sweet wine for dinner in the wintertime, I don't prefer. So I do prefer a sweeter wine. At a wine tasting, maybe having one glass with meat and cheese. I'm having that in the wintertime. That's fine.
Now, could you
prefer
mull
more-
it in the winter?
yeah, you could. There's many of them you can warm up and they'd be fine. Yeah,
Okay.
especially the almond berry.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good one warmed up with a little bit of spice.
Yeah, I don't think people appreciate mulled wines in the winter holiday times as much as they should, or certainly not as much as they used to.
No, that's true. That's a good observation. Yeah, I do like a good mulled wine. You could. There's many wines you can mull, or at least try to. I would not mull as Zinfandel.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Right.
do that. In fact, I had a really good Zinfandel. I wish I could remember the name of it. I was at. So there's a restaurant at a sculpture garden. Where is it? Hamilton? It's in Trenton, Hamilton area. Not too far from me, about 30 miles. And the architecture is amazing because it doesn't look like a restaurant. It looks like many buildings stuck together. It almost looks like a house, a very low-beamed, low-ceilinged house.
Mm-hmm.
And the motif is it's kind of gypsy inside. It has a very gypsy feel to it. A lot of cushions, a lot of dark paneling, candles, silks, things of that nature, beads hanging off of some of the posts that separate eating areas.
Yeah.
And the owner loves Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Rats, named after Ratty. One of the beloved. I believe I posted that not too long ago on Twitter. And we were there, and I had a really good Zinfandel with my scallops. And that hit just right. Actually, I had 2 glasses. And then afterwards, we sat on these low cushions right in front of the fireplace. This is fantastic. So much fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I didn't mind a cooler, light, refreshing wine with seafood.
And the best part is you made it there without any of the UFOs in New Jersey claiming you as their own.
I haven't. I know. I would like to. I would like to talk with them. I have not. I've been searching the skies here in South Jersey. I have not seen any.
Uh-huh.
But more of the Air Force, the military bases are north. I think Bell Labs. And there's another laboratory up in North Jersey that's still in existence. That makes sense that would be near there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where one of the teleportation portals resides between here and New Mexico. Okay. So, yeah, it makes sense that the military is in cahoots with aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not too many in South Jersey. Not that I've seen. I mean, there could be.
Right. So, TJ, how's your the story you've been working on going? I hear you. Well, the one that you broke, kind of a local scandal, as it were.
Oh, which one?
Well, exactly.
Quite a few, right?
Enough that people I don't know on Twitter were like commending you for breaking certain stories and for your work on certain stories. So,
well, I mean, not to self brag. I've been doing quite a lot. It's just been funny how my reporting is just at this new job is just completely gone into like, it's like going from a Model T to a Aston Martin Vanquish in terms of like just speed, where I'm cranking out all these crazy stories all the time. So yeah, cool. I mean, I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind was a story I broke about how this foreign national was registered to vote by the Department of Licensing, and when they investigated it, they found that it had been done by accident. And in one of the internal emails, the Department of Licensing official in the communication said, "Yeah, this is because we don't verify citizenship," which is they're noting a flaw in the voter registration system, despite the fact that our Secretary of State insists that our voting system is secure.
Right.
So that was through just a random public records request I made, and I'm going through it, and I found that email. I was like, oh, that is like, it's like coming across that like big chunk of gold. You're panning for gold.
Mm-hmm.
You find this big chunk that just pops out of nowhere. So yeah, I flew out to DC for that journalism award event. Didn't win, but
that's cool. You were nominated, though.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy going from rural Washington to the National Press Club.
Right. But anyway, congratulations on that. Anyway, even though you didn't win, congratulations on the nomination, and congratulations on doing actual journalism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how, I mean, there's still journalism being done, but it's not being done on a scale that it used to be back when you had guys just basically acting like private detectives without guns.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were writing.
You're actually living like a pulp hero, TJ. I mean, when you think about it.
Beat it, Toots.
This town ain't what
it used to be.
But
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. Is I'm gonna need a better Fortress of Solitude. This is obviously with the train and all that, but yeah, I mean, my next house that I live in, I'm definitely gonna arrange it so that I've got my, I don't want to say bat cave, but my Fortress of Solitude that allows me to just go down. I'm absolutely gonna have a secret entrance for it, just because I like every morning I need to be able to have that like sense of opening and closure between.
Does this pole still work?
Yeah.
You gotta try this pole.
Have you seen those videos on Instagram where it's like these companies that sell these doors that are basically like bookshelves or clocks?
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, they show these entrances to these rooms. Some of them are really cool. Others are like, I find it weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have 500 guns in a room, I'm like, what are you gonna?
Oh, that dude, yeah. He's probably like this obsessive.
It's OCD.
Autistic collector, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, I got 500 guns. It's like you can only use one at a time, man.
Well, I'll never diss a guy for his hobbies, even if it doesn't seem to make sense to us. Whatever. If it makes you happy and you got the money, fuck it. Yeah. Who cares?
There was a guy who posted and said, how could you not want a room like this? I'm like, I'd fill it up with whiskey, cigars, and
well, yeah, that's what you would do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and a good like they were trying to say like every guy wants a room like that. I'm like, I really don't, because if I need that many guns, they're not going to be in my house. They're going to be at the depot where my fellow rebels, or depending on which side we're on, the Imperial side, we're all gathering together to go fight. I just if I need 500 guns, I need 500 men.
Yeah, you need backup.
Yeah.
And that's cool, Baron. Gaslight. There was a Japanese restaurant I was rather fond of up in Chicago, actually in the western suburbs of Chicago. And at a certain point, they actually had a special formal set of chopsticks that were set aside for me, that were like in a nice lacquered box with my name on it. And these were, lacquered reusable chopsticks that would get washed. And they had my own set of chopsticks there. Whenever I'd go there, I would usually order sake with dinner. And depending on the time of the year it is, I always left it up to the chef to decide, what would be appropriate with the meal I was having, whether it should be warmed or whether it should be chilled, and was never ever disappointed with it. As a matter of fact, since I'm not naming the place, I won't get them in any trouble. Their liquor license was being renewed by the town in which they were in the Chicago area. And because of that, they could not sell alcohol. So, of course, I'm like, oh, I'm so disappointed. And the lady I was with is like, oh, he was so looking forward. He was just bragging about, having sake here with his meal and stuff like that. But it's like, we completely understood. So no grief, no hassle. If you sell us alcohol without your liquor license is going through the renewal process and you don't formally have it, your whole restaurant could be closed down. So it's like, completely get it. Weren't going to give them any grief. They knew I had traveled like 4 hours from out of town and everything to be there. Of course, I was there for other reasons as well. But so next thing you know, our sushi was brought out to us. Our main meal was still being prepped, and the waitress brings me out a bottle, a little carafe of warm sake and a couple glasses, and she's like, the owner said, we can't sell you alcohol, but we can give you sake. So they gave me my own little carafe bottle, the little white carafe, pouring carafe that you've probably seen in Shogun or some other Japanese TV show, those of you out in the audience. And they gave me sake with my dinner. And I'm like, it's,
cool.
There's
moments you remember, fondly. You'll always have that with you. That's very cool.
Right. So needless to say, a very good tip, even better than usual. And I usually tip very well when I tip, was left that evening, as well as, thanks all around before leaving, and, bowed to the chef and said thank you. So, but that's the kind of thing. It's, it's really weird. And I'm sure if Noble was here, he'd probably talk about it, because he's obviously has been to Japan and was talking about what a wonderful time he had over there. But a little understanding of certain cultures and not being a dick all the time can get you amazing results in life, just by being personable and understanding. Not a doormat, but I mean, just comprehending things, understanding the situation, and then reacting appropriately. It's not that big of a deal, but
being a polite gentleman doesn't mean you have to, like you said, have to be a doormat.
No. If anything but. I mean, how many movies or books have we watched where the guy is a perfect gentleman, always has the right thing to say, always has the right reaction, but when it comes time to smack someone in the mouth, they smack him in the mouth. And there's no hesitation there. But it's, the reaction or action is appropriate to the given situation. And that is a lost art.
Yeah, it is.
Very
much is. Used to have this little saying, sort of a poem on my wall growing up, that manners were and being polite were traffic rules for humanity. So I always took that to heart.
Well, heck, Vince, didn't you just posted something on Twitter? What was it, yesterday maybe, about a certain movie based on a Malpin book that I believe that was you.
Oh yeah, The Razor's Edge.
Yeah, The Razor's Edge. That video kind of encapsulated what I was just saying. I mean, aspects of that, as far as his reaction with the woman and her hysterics.
Yeah,
and
it was
how
very calm. Very calm. He was serious yet playful. He didn't let her get to him. He was basically respectfully treating her like the child that she is. but still making her feel. He made her feel. You just see their body language. He made her feel good. It was that male attention that she wanted and desired so much.
Well, yeah. I mean, she ends up, on the floor at his knee, looking up to him, and the look on her face of both, like, desire and interest and everything else. But he never lost his cool at any time, nor did he let her treat him like a doormat or like some kind of beta cuck, retiring off the Lincoln chair. I mean,
no, he actually plays Somerset Maugham in that movie, even though the writer doesn't appear in his own book. That's just for the story. But that is another edition was made in the 80s with Bill Murray playing the character of Daryl. That was good. That was okay. I didn't like it as much. He can play serious roles. I personally don't like watching Bill Murray in a serious role. I just don't. He'll always be Peter Venkman to me.
Right.
So, but it's still good. It's worth watching. Both versions are worth watching. I think it came out in, I want to say like 84, 85. You can look it up. But this one's 1946. Oh, there's our 30-minute mark. All right, gentlemen. I'll leave up this broadcast on, at least up until now, up on Twitter, even though we're going to stop the broadcast. And then we're going to continue on for a little bit, talking candidly and privately on the Masculine Geek YouTube channel for members only. So if you're not a member, get over there. If not, you enjoyed a half an hour with us. So there you go. So for anyone coming aboard, we'll see you in a little bit. If not, we'll see you for the D&D game in January. All right, let's go over here, and then we do remove, save changes. There we go. And then we're still broadcasting on YouTube here. Then I go over to the back end into the studio. I go to visibility. That's right. Done. And then I hit save and see you soon. There we go. We're up to 6 members so far.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Congratulations, you 6 gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Right, if you are watching.
But no, that was just what we were talking about made me think about that. And it's like, damn, Vince just posted something that kind of ties in to what we were just saying. So
correct. Yeah. Turn that
also love the way the guy dressed. That's a nice suit.
Oh,
which I think is the other thing I miss about those the guys in those old movies. The way men dressed were just amazing.
Oh yeah. It's you could do it now, you'd be out of place.
That's actually a discussion that I've had with people where they're dressing better. I'm like, look, man, I live in, and this is one of the reasons I was actually, when I was talking to my boss about moving, I'm like, we were in suits, having our cigars lit for us by the cigar gals.
Yep.
And I said, look, man, I live in the middle of nowhere. I can't dress nicer than flannel because that's basically a redneck.
You have to dress for the area unfortunately we live in. So if you're out here, you go into Philly, there's a cigar lounge. I forget the name of it, but it's high end, and the cigar stewardesses come around and light your cigar, and you have a selection you can choose from there. Put on your tab. You can dress in a 3-piece suit if you wish,
and that's what everybody was like.
Or you could dress down. It's like it's an amalgam of interesting clothing at this place.
Yeah, and so we're still in discussions about that. I kind of gave them my written statement on the whole thing. For the employee feedback. So it's it's kind of sad. Like, you want to There's nobody. It's almost like there's a book that can be written about this, but there's no guy out there enforcing standards.
Nope.
I mean, there's no societal institutions that you. I mean, think about all the social clubs that people used to be a part of, where it's like where you show up dressed like a slob and like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
No, you had to. That's what you did.
So, yeah.
Indeed.
Well, how many movies or TV shows have that scene where, you know, the guy walks into the country club or the restaurant or whatever because he's a guest of so and so, or he's there to interview so and so, and you know the maitre d is like, you know, with the gentleman like to borrow a tie and coat, you know, before he can actually proceed in to whoever the big shot is he's got the meeting with. And
it's like that scene in As Good as It Gets when he's on the date with Helen Hunt at the restaurant, and he's like, "Oh, this is you have to wear, basically have to wear a jacket." He's like, in case you were wondering, I'm not going to let you inject me with the plague either.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs out to the nearest clothing store right before they close, and he picks up a tie and jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's interesting about country clubs and yacht clubs. They're the only organizations that really ruthlessly enforce their rules.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is you have to be rich or put money in to enjoy something that kind of was a little bit of just part of the mainstream culture now. It's becoming more and more elite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the problem is, like, this is one of my problems with Elon Musk. The guy he doesn't dress well for a guy who's now apparently worth $400 billion. You have Jack Dorsey, who's worth $4.6 billion. He dresses like a slob. The only person who seems to wear a decent clothes is Trump.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I mean, Musk dresses like a spurg. He does.
Yeah, he's autistic. He's like a little retarded kid.
Yeah, which, you know, that's fine for him. If I tell you what, if I was not nearly as busy with some of the things that I am, work-wise and otherwise, and I had just a little bit more income, I think there's a part of me that probably would dress a little bit nicer. I'm not sure if my style is, you know, the vest with the tweed jacket, academic kind of, you know, British Don sort of look, or what. I mean, I would really have to like try some different things on, and it's like, you know, what is my style? What, you know, what is it? It's like, yeah, this is how I'm going to dress, and it doesn't matter that I look completely out of place in rural Indiana. You know, that is how I want to dress. That is how I want to comport myself in public. And, you know, because I've thought about that. I really have, but, you know, I don't like being out publicly a lot, you know, beyond what I need to do for work. And obviously I dress that for comfort. I do address appropriately for various dates, as far as what kind of date we're having, as far as, you know, are we just grabbing cheese fries at Outback, or are we doing something else? But yeah, that look she gives him, and then the way she leans into him, it's like he has her. It's like I've hooked you. You know,
that's Green Turney.
Yep.
And that's the loveliest representation of virginal beauty that ever existed.
Guys hear it?
Yeah.
You've got exquisite legs, so long and shapely. I can't cease to be surprised at them, because they were thick and lumpy when I first saw you. I can't imagine how you've managed it.
An iron will.
Of course, your most fascinating feature are your hands. They're so slim and elegant.
I was under the impression you thought them too big.
Not for your height and build.
Yeah.
he does things, then he gives her something to be indignant about, and then he reels her back in.
Then he continues. He pushes and pulls with his with the tension. Yep, that's how you do it.
But yeah, so I'd have to kind of see. I mean, I don't know if I walked around in like Edwardian suit and tails, or
there's that one guy that does it. Did you ever see him
century.
on? It was like a couple years ago. He was doing that. He was like dressing to for the very things that we're talking about, that like to make people wake up a little bit and take notice, and that this is a lost art that can be revived. And he wanted to show that being a gentleman was also dressing like a gentleman, and he would dress up in Edwardian and classical suits. I think he was from England.
It would not surprise me.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm like, I wouldn't do that, but maybe occasionally here and there. I wouldn't do it on a regular basis, but
I don't know if I had the money and whatever it was doing career wise, I might. You know,
you have to have the proper career. Yeah, you have to be almost not retired, but have a lifestyle that suits that.
Yeah,
like Elon Musk could get away with doing that.
Yeah,
he could.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That or dressing up as a 16th century cavalier. I don't know, but just
right.
But yeah, I mean, if I had that kind of money, I might invest because I kind of think that's probably something I have. Like most guys have been kind of lazy about. I am because I have 2 or 3 pairs of the exact same tennis shoe. I've got 4 or 5 of the same shirt. I mean, literally like the same cut and color on some of them. Others, I've got like 3 or 4 different colors of the same cut shirt. And I have, if I'm going to spend money on something, usually I'm spending it on something that's hobby related, movie, album, a book, a toy, something like that. Whereas, I'll leave the clothes behind to like Christmas and birthdays from the various women in my life, even though my mother has been incapable of picking something that is like even close to my style, probably since I was a teenager. It was probably the last time mom ever came close with that. But various wives, ex-wives, girlfriends, whatever, usually don't do too bad of a job. Most of the time they've not bought something that's like, yeah, you are dressing me to be as unattractive to other women as possible. I have not been a guy that's really had to experience that. Usually, at least with everyone except ex-wife number 1, who that's so long ago, it's like, yeah, it was just okay. The later women in my life have almost taken care to dress me well, in that I think they want to be able to show me off to other women that I have him and you don't.
That's what I don't get about guys who want their girlfriends or women to dress ugly in public. Like, first of all, if they're physically attractive, their clothes, that's only gonna stall off guys who are like require or have instant like attention. But if some guy's like chronically noticing her and seeing her, bad clothing is not gonna get in the way, especially if she's really young. It's just it's gonna get. And why would you want your girl to look ugly?
Yeah, I don't get that.
And if you're worried about her leaving, sorry, but like I'm not okay. This is where we got to be careful. If a guy's nervous about a girl leaving, they've already lost her.
Well, he has no options.
You know, it's
Mhm.
it's sort of like because that nervousness or anxiety or jealousy is going to make her have anxiety about the fact that she feels like you're giving off that she could do better, as opposed to saying, "Yeah, if you want to go think that you can do better than me, by all means, go
Well,
ahead."
a woman will see that as weakness and neediness. Women do not like men that are needy because it's setting off that this man's a child. He needs to be
Mhm.
mothered, and women do not want to mother the men that they sleep with.
No.
They take care of them in a different manner.
Mhm.
It's quite a different dynamic.
Yeah.
But I've always told all my girls, especially lately, like, yeah, I care. I tell them I care, but I don't.
Mhm.
I
Well,
and
how many?
it releases a competition in them. Like, well, I'll show him,
Mhm.
and they like realize, okay, well, if I don't keep up the status quo, if I don't do everything to please him, he will let me go.
Yeah.
So
Well, how many times has Noble posted a picture of him and his wife going out somewhere, and she's in the stripper heels and the tight, low cut, high cut, high skirt, low down top. It's
yeah,
yeah, and he's like, you know, show off that bod because it. She's his, and that's
hmm
and he's absolutely confident about that. So it's yeah, it's how it should be. But it's like, yeah, I don't want you going out in even to the grocery store in like pajamas. It's like no,
Right.
no, don't sweats in a t-shirt kind of crap. No.
Well,
yeah,
and it's kind of a fine. It's an interesting line because I noticed this because I observe married women. I'm very intrigued and curious about married women because these are women who have secured a husband, and how are they behaving when they're not around their husband?
Hmm.
And this is not being recorded, right?
yeah. Well, it's being recorded, but it's only for members. It's not for general public dissemination.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that anyone's watching right now. Anyway,
No, there's no one watching right now. And
yeah.
whether they go back later and listen to it and like, oh, TJ said that, I doubt. It's very
I can
doubtful.
tell. I can tell when a woman is secure. I won't go into details, but I can tell when a woman is secure in her marriage
Hmm.
in a healthy way. I can tell when she's secure in her marriage in an unhealthy way, and I can tell when a woman is insecure in her marriage in an unhealthy way. And it's all by how do they take care of themselves, how do they dress,
Hmm.
and there's all these different telltale signs where I'm like, okay, she's basically putting her flag down and saying, I'm so secure in this relationship that he's not going anywhere. I can dress or groom myself however I want. And then there's girls who they are still women are still conveying, I'm potentially on the market if need be.
Hmm.
And it's kind of easy to tell who those women are, and it's just funny how I don't know. Just once you see it, you can't unsee it.
True. It comes back to a lot of one, guys do not give themselves permission to lead because they're operating under the assumption that men and women are equal, and she's her own entity, and she can do whatever she wants because she's a human being, and we're all the same. Well, we have the same rights. More's the pity. I'll go into that on a Masculine Geek Fortress meeting, what I think about that. But we are equal in a legal standing. Well, on paper, for the most part, with certain things. Maybe not so much in family court, but in general legal standing, we're equal. And no discrimination in work, and equal pay, and blah blah blah. But as far as us being equal in a biological, psychological sense, no, we're not. Especially in a relationship dynamic sense, or not. So when guys come into relations with women and they don't realize this or not self-aware enough to realize this, that's where the problems begin. And I've been there. I'm like, man, this shit isn't working. But you learn over time what to do and not to do. So
Yeah, I just think it's interesting how you can kind of tell these things, and
well, you've got you've got good solid data leaning in a certain direction, which you're probably right. I'm sure there are exceptions where you may be like, oh, that was, she's not what I thought, but for the most part, she pretty much is what you thought.
yeah.
But we love them anyway.
Well, and I think what it really goes down to is if a guy wants to get married, he's gonna have to unless he's really, really gonna thread that needle, if you're really gonna be able to navigate that Death Star trench, which you're gonna have to do if you want a lot of, there's certain things that if you want all of them together, you're really gonna have to be on your A game. But if you're just looking to have a comfortable marriage, it can be done. But here's some things that you're going to give up. You're not going to have.
Well, yeah, I see this at work too, guys. Like they put themselves in positions where they have to be the plow horse because it's comfortable. It gives them an identity, and it's like, oh gosh, golly gee, this is just how it is, And so many other guys are like that. Now they're in this big club, and they can all be semi-miserable together because that's just how it is. No, it's not, and you're miserable, and it shows. That's why your fucking hair's falling out.
Well, I'm thinking more of where, I mean, I know several couples where it's like they seem happy. Nobody gives off any vibe that there's any unhappiness, but just judging by some of the things I've seen, it's like, this is a marriage where both are way too comfortable in the relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm being kind of obscure for just intentionally, but saying, like, you can tell when a couple is too comfortable in the relationship where it's almost
you could be comfortable in the relationship. Doesn't mean you let's define some terms. Doesn't mean you give up.
I think that when I say give up, I mean
no, I know what you're saying. It's like comfortable meaning I cannot do the things that I used to do to keep this woman, to make her interested in me.
Well, man, honestly, it's interesting how a lot of these dynamics are going to play out with the boomers, as they're like, and this is for the boomer. It's interesting because a lot of boomers got divorced. There's a lot of boomers that never got divorced for various reasons, but now their spouses are going to die. One of them's going to die, and the other one will have more likely or more or less not been alone ever in their entire lives, right?
Oh, a lot of them have not, no.
And I'm seeing some of that, and I'm also seeing some where it's like both spouses are still alive, but they're in a codependent relationship where the guy he hasn't had to do stuff. He hasn't had to do certain things his entire life. His wife was doing it. I mean, there was kind of a division of not labor, but like just things that they were taking care of because it was the house stuff. I remember one guy, his wife died, and everybody was freaking out because they're like, how's he going to feed himself? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this guy can literally not boil an egg. He's never cooked a meal for himself in his entire adult life.
He's going to be a man. He's going to learn real fucking fast. Or he's going to die. That's just
how it is. And that's kind of where I was like, guys, and this is where I'm like, everybody looks at like bachelors like myself as if we're not responsible. I'm like, I cook my own meals. I also pay my own bills, and I work my own job, and I have to figure out financing. And I don't just eat out of a can every night. I make good meals. I know how to cook. On top of learning everything else, like that's not easy. Like being a bachelor, being a bachelor that actually has appeal is not easy. You can be a complete slob of a bachelor, but a bachelor who is
Oh
actually,
yeah.
and that's the problem with like all these different discussions about stuff. It's you can have a 300-pound fat bastard bachelor who orders takeout because he makes $250,000 a year, working on his computer all day, never goes outside, doesn't touch grass, argues with people on Reddit, is a complete social retard. And then you have a guy who actually goes out and learns life skills and has had adventures and has stories to tell.
Mm-hmm.
They're not so people. It's interesting how people try to project their view of what they think a bachelor is, or more importantly, what they want what they want bachelors to think they're going to be perceived as if they don't, get in line and,
Toe
pitch
the line.
themselves. Yeah, if they don't toe the line. Dun, 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 dun,
That's a
dun.
great. It's called. Yeah, this one's called The Far Side of the World. This particular movement.
That film had such a great soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I always play it. Yeah, it's like the epitome of leadership and masculinity. Just kind of sit back with your drink in front of the fireplace. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of good lines in that movie.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting. There's that one guy, the one who kills himself. He's kind of a textbook example of a guy who was not a leader of men, but for some reason he had been put in charge of them.
Oh, yeah, he was picked on and bullied, but never rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
It was a downward spiral into lack of self-confidence and no esteem.
Yeah,
trying to be everyone's friend, not knowing the distinction between leading and being a friend.
And that's the thing about Russell Crowe's character, where he's like, you don't make friends with the lower galley jackals. You lead them and you get their respect. Like Jack Aubrey, clearly he's popular with them, but he's not friends with them. He maintains he orders that one guy to basically cut the ropes to his friend was clinging to, and like goes, I didn't enjoy doing that. That wasn't, but we had to do it, or the ship was going to capsize, or like break apart.
Get drug under, yeah.
Yeah, he's like emotionally attached in a way, which is healthy for a captain, because you don't want to get too close to anybody who, you might.
Well, the problem when you become friendly with your subordinates, and not in a disrespectful way, but
You
when
identify
you
with
become
them.
friendly, yeah. When you sort of identify as one of them, there's this weird amorphous boundary that's now crossed that they feel can in some way feel entitled to your
Favor.
thank you, your favor, and then you're like, well, it's like a mess. You just can't you can't do it.
Yeah.
Because when you're friends with somebody, you feel entitled to ask for a favor, or ask for for attention, or talk in a certain way that's you wouldn't with somebody else. At the same time, when someone's your friend, you're like, wow, I really can't order him around now, can I? Now that he's my friend, I can't give him these orders to swab and scrub the deck now, can I? So that boundary has to remain in effect, so you can maintain order. So
yeah,
but yes, the background music is always a good thing to have the Master and Commander playing. And on that note, we're at the hour mark. We're all tired. We're going to keep these at about an hour. So anyone who's watching later, because no one's watching now, and that's fine, because we enjoy talking amongst ourselves, and you're now privy to it, talk a little more candidly. and as we cannot do on a standard YouTube channel. So that's why it says members. There's no there's less censoring and whatnot with the members only stream. So once again, we are going to be playing probably Drew's game on January 8th. But MG Life, we have the 27th, 27th and 28th scheduled. So I'll get those. I think I have them up on the site. Yeah. I'll send out emails anyways as we get closer. So. All right, gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream and play our outro music, and then go from there.